Welcome back to the show, mother effers. It's been a while. Not really, but kind of. Feels like a lifetime. But here we are, back again. Another UFC breakdown. Thoughts, opinions. It was a good one, man. UFC 319. It was a good card. I was actually pretty satisfied with the matchmaking, man. We had some good fights on that card. The main event, I'll give my opinion on that at the end. I mean, it was whatever. I mean, my hats off to Kazmat Chimaev. You know, honestly, that dude works hard. He's a monster, you know. IMO, in my opinion, I think it could have been a little bit more of an exciting fight. But whatever, dude. That dude made some life-changing money, I'll bet you, that night. And, yeah, congrats to him. Spoiler alert. Anyways, UFC 319. What can I start with? Honestly, I usually try to keep these under 30 minutes. This might go a little bit longer than 30 minutes just because I included some of the undercards. Usually I just try to talk about the main event just because that already takes up so much time. But dude, this card was just stacked. It had some great fights. So I felt like there was just some people on the undercard that I had to mention. So we'll start with the first fight that I want to talk about: Edson Barbosa versus Drakkar Klose. I was a little bummed out to see that Edson Barbosa was dropped to the prelims. You know, I mean, Edson Barbosa, he's a mother effing legend, dude. The knockouts he has are insane. Wheel kicks, just switch kicks. I kind of modeled my switch kick off of his. I used to watch how he would throw his, and I kind of like try to imitate it so I could throw mine a little bit faster because, I mean, he has one of the fastest switch kicks in the game. One of the things I realized he does is when he pops off on that switch, he actually leans forward on it. So usually when you switch, it's like you're bringing your front foot and your front foot and you're sliding it slightly backward to your back foot, and then you're snapping it from there, right? That's kind of the traditional way of teaching you how to do it. Some people will go a little further back and kind of bring it back past the foot. I try not to. But anyways, I was watching Barbosa, and he does it a little bit different. When he does his switch, a lot of the times he'll put his weight on the front foot and he'll slide his back foot forward. And then off that, he'll use that as a kind of spring to snap his left foot to snap his left foot into the switch. I don't know if I'm describing that in the best way possible. I'd have to show it to you. But anyways, what this does is it allows your momentum to go forward. So you cover distance in a way that's a little bit more harder to read rather than like launching forward. You're kind of just sliding forward. And the other thing that it does is it allows you to snap it a little bit faster because the momentum is going forward with it. So I think you do lose a little bit more power because when I switch, I find that if I touch the ground solidly before I go into the flicking part, if I just slap my front foot down a little bit right before I snap it, I feel like I can push off and get a little bit more power, but I'm also sacrificing some speed with that because you kind of see when I touch the ground. So the way he does it, like I said, is he keeps that front foot planted, slides the back foot forward, and then he'll snap the front foot. I don't know. Try it. Maybe I'll put out a video about it. Who knows? But anyways, I really like the guy, man. I've tried, like I said, I try to adapt to switch kick into my game. He was on the prelim last night. I was a little bummed, but after watching the fight, I can understand why Dana had to put him on the prelim. You know, Barbosa, he came out. I mean, the first round was pretty good. It was pretty even. I think right from when the bell rang, Klose tried to press forward. You know, his style was a little bit more aggressive. He likes to clench and push people against the fence. And he said during his interviews, his game plan was to kind of use his size against Barbosa. He said Barbosa mentioned that he struggled with the bigger guys because they would just like be able to out wrestle him or out clench him. And so he just kind of was like, all right, let me just try to out wrestle and out clench him, which is, you know, honestly, like in most of Barbosa's career, he's kind of primarily a striker, but not really like a strong Muay Thai base. It's like he uses a lot of Muay Thai, but mostly he likes to kick, and he'll land a couple straight punches and a couple. He's fast, like he can pop his hands and land a lot some good combinations, but he doesn't have like the traditional Muay Thai to where he's like comfortable in the clench and landing knees, you know. So usually when guys try to press him forward into the fence, he'll try to use angles and combinations. So like throw some combinations and try to slide and dip, you know, and use some to get his distance. He did the same with Klose. Klose charged forward in the first round, and I remember Barbosa was just landing some crazy like 3-shot combinations, boom, 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 move, boom, 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 move. That first 2 minutes, I was sitting there like, damn, Barbosa's got this. But you know, he started getting pushed against the clench, man. Honestly, like the guys, Klose's game plan started to kind of like, you'd see it kind of take off over after the after like the first minute or two of the first round, you started kind of seeing him implement it a little bit more, just pushing Barbosa against the fence, landing some inside strikes. Barbosa, I feel like, I really feel like he would benefit from using more of his knees, like if he doesn't want to out-clench guys, if he doesn't want to wrestle guys, it's like he needs to at least get comfortable with defending in the clench, right? Trying to get a more dominant position where there's, with underhooks or a single collar, and then punishing them for coming into the clench, landing some good knees. He landed some good knees on Klose. I think one of them in the first round, like you kind of saw it like sink in, and it, from what I saw, it looked like it made Klose feel a little bit uncomfortable, But yeah, I mean, he did land a couple good knees at the end of the first round. So yeah, first round, I don't know, it was hard to score. I kind of had it about even. Second, or actually, no, I think in the first round. Oh yeah, and Klose had some good foot stomps too. The first round, dude, I remember he had Barbosa against the fence and he was just stomping on that foot. Like I think he landed like 18 foot stomps in that first round. It really reminded me of Usman, except for he was like stomping hard as hell. Actually, dude, now that I think about it, I feel like Klaus's game plan was probably what you would see Usman try to implement, and just push him against the cage, use your clenching and stomp the foot and just be kind of annoying, and use your kind of more your power to dominate the circle, I guess you could say it. Yeah, so I think that's interesting. I wonder if they train together or whatever. But anyways, so yeah, when the second round started, you could see the swelling on Barbosa's foot, and honestly, you can see that it was bothering him. Like his movement was kind of like hampered a little bit. He wasn't as bouncy as he normally would be, or at least from what you saw in the first round. I wouldn't say it was like a game killer, but it was definitely, those foot stomps definitely looked like they were being effective. I mean, Klause's right hand kept landing. That was one thing I noticed too. One thing I noticed was Barbosa was eating a lot of right hands. I don't know why. I think the reason Barbosa was eating a lot of right hands was because he has the tendency to. He did two things. Barbosa has the tendency to, when he throws body combinations, he likes to lean a little bit to the left, which a lot of guys like to do because it helps with the balance, But you just got to remember you're walking into danger. Land that body and get out. I like to land a body shot and then I'll long guard with my opposite hand, switch to my southpaw and back out, land that body, duck under, keep moving, I don't recommend going to your opponent, your left side, which would be your opponent's power side, too often, as you saw with Barbosa. You just end up getting clipped with that right. And that's honestly a lot of what I saw was Barbosa's footwork was, he has good footwork, but he has the tendency to circle to his left side, which is the natural side to circle to when you're pushing off, he would step to his left a lot, lining himself up with Klause's right, and really all Klose had to do was kind of lean forward and just kind of try to overextend his cross, and he was pretty much meeting Barbosa's face like a lot of the times. It's kind of interesting because I felt like that's something that Barbosa should have been able to pick up on. Like, I'm walking into that his right side, my left side. I should not do that, I don't know what was up with that. Or, I mean, maybe he just wasn't getting too hurt by it, and so he just didn't feel like he had to adjust. But they were landing, dude. And honestly, second round, I feel like went to Klose. Not much to add to that. Honestly, the right hand for Klose seemed to be with his right hand and his ability to push Barbosa against the clinch. I mean, Barbosa seemed like he kind of started fading around the second round, slowing down a lot. Maybe it was the foot stomps. I mean, I don't know. It's an unfortunate performance, but it is what it is, and that's how the game goes. And you also got to remember, dude, Barbosa's like 39 years old, I believe, almost 40. So to compete at the level he's competed in, oh, dude, there was a point where they both were just spamming wheel kicks. Yeah, dude, that was pretty cool. Klose, I think, opened up with a fucking hook kick, I think, if I remember correctly, in the first round, and then in the third round, Barbosa threw one, kind of barely got him. Then Klose threw one, kind of barely got him, and then I think Klose did like a cartwheel kick or something. I don't know. It was an interesting end to the third round. But yeah, I mean, Klose got it. Couldn't get off to him, man. He worked hard and he beat a pretty crazy striker like Barbosa. I don't know what's next for Barbosa. I don't know. Maybe we won't be seeing him for a while. Maybe he goes to a different league. Whatever happens, I'm glad I've got to witness a lot of his fights. But moving on, Chase Hooper, man. Chase Hooper. He was a pretty big prospect. He was young coming into the UFC. I kind of forgot about him. I haven't really seen a lot of his fights, but yeah, he's a Chase Hooper, tall, lengthy, white kid. Came in with a lot of good wrestling fundamentals, if I remember correctly. worked on his striking a lot. In general, it looked like he's been working his boxing a lot more. He did pretty good. He fought this dude Hernandez. I can't remember Hernandez's first name. I think it was like Michael Hernandez or something. Yeah, in the beginning, Chase was doing really good with using his distance, dude, sticking to his jabs, changing angles, switching stances. He did a good job at long guarding and just poking him, keeping him on the outside. He started landing a lot of kicks too. He was working a lot of teeps, a lot of left kicks, right kicks, just making Hernandez have to work to get on the inside. There is a pretty big height disparity. I'm not sure the exact height disparity. I wish I wrote it down. That probably would have been important for you guys. My bad. Still, again, you still need all this. It was a very noticeable height difference. In most of the first round, it looked like Hooper was going to win that round. The last 5 seconds of the round, Hernandez ends up throwing a cross and just knocking him out. Literally the last 5 seconds, drops him. Maybe lands one or two strikes on top of him. I think they were like 2 hooks, boom, and fight got called, man. Hooper got caught, dude. Honestly, Hernandez, he was very patient, waited for the right time to strike. You could see him kind of try to put stuff together. When you're fighting like a taller guy, dude, it takes a long time to get comfortable, because anytime you try to step in, it's like you're stepping into their range while they're still safe from your attacks. So that does something to your mental, and it also forces you to slow down, Hernandez did a great job with this camp. He was working a lot of his angles, a lot of footwork, changing stances. He was changing stances mid combinations, things that work really good against taller guys, just because it helps you close the distance fast. At the beginning of the round, he would kind of get in and land a punch or two, and then he would kind of exit, which I didn't understand why he was doing. And in my opinion, if you're the shorter guy, once you work to get on the inside, you should try to stay there a little bit longer, try to land a couple combinations, because your opponent, if he's got longer arms and you're like at his chest, it's a lot harder for him to punch him than it is you. And even if you have your face stuffed to his chest, you can still land bodies where he can really only land knees, elbows, maybe even clench, But yeah, he used his footwork and found an opening, landed that cross, and just dropped Chase, man. Chase the prospect. Let me light this up real quick. You already know your boy, how we do over here at California Sober, baby. If you guys don't know what California Sober means, it's not that I'm sober. It just means that I smoke weed. California Sober, it's like a junkie term for smoking cannabis, because back in the day, if you went to rehab, if you were going to rehab in California, they didn't test you for cannabis. Now they don't test for a lot of shit. They let you get away with a lot more now. But anyways, yeah, so Hernandez, good dude, first round knockout, last 5 seconds, and what a performance. A fight I want to real quickly mention, the Jessica Andrade Lupi Godinez, man. A lot of people always talk smack about female fighters because they talk about how the technique's not there, the power's not there, the speed's not there, whatever. A lot of it is, not a lot of it, some of it can be true. Yeah, obviously dudes were, like, if you take the highest competitive male and the highest competitive female, there's going to be a big gap. It's true. That's just a natural advantage. But I don't think that doesn't mean it's not going to be entertaining. I truly believe the entertainment value of fights are completely predicated on how similar the levels are of each fighter, right? I have watched two bar fights, right? 2 guys fight at a bar, had complete no knowledge of martial arts experience, never took a martial arts class in their life, were out of shape, but they both sucked equally as bad, and it was a entertaining fight. They were just throwing slobber knockers, was falling everywhere, they're just grabbing all weird, punching all wild, and falling over themselves. That shit was entertaining, man. You cannot tell me that watching 2 noobs fight is not motherfucking entertaining. If you don't believe me, when you find the 2 newest recruits at your gym, similar weight, throw them in the ring, and just see what happens. And I guarantee you, you're gonna be screaming out your lungs, having fun, telling them what to do. It's a good time. So I truly believe you can have good, entertaining female fights. You just gotta have them close to the same level, and you gotta have them be dogs. That's the other thing, as long as they're dogs, right? Jessica Andrade, Lupi Godinez did not disappoint. Jessica, former champion. If you don't know, you should know her style. Very Vanderlei Silva-esque. I don't know if she trained at shootbox or what, but it's very just hands heavy, come forward, a lot of hooks. She'll take damage to give damage type. No backing up. Her face will be all bloody, just still going forward. She has good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu as well, but she mostly, I like her. A lot of her fights have come from her striking, which, at least all the ones I saw. Lupi, I didn't really know much of her, to be honest, dude, but she came in, and it honestly was it was basically technique versus power. That's what I saw, right? So Lupi had clean technique. Everything was crispy, combinations, everything she threw was in combinations. It was like 1-2s or 3s, and they were ending with kicks or knees or like, a power shot. Jessica, on the other hand, everything was thrown at 100%. It was kind of crazy. She would lead with hooks, lead with crosses, lead with overhands, swing so hard to where she'd almost spin all the way around. The first 2 rounds, Jessica was getting pieced up, dude. Lupi was just honestly using footwork, 1-2, 1-2-3 kick, moving around. She was just first to get to the punch, and it like honestly, like it looked like every time Jessica Andrade was gonna swing, she would kind of like load up on it, and then Lupi would just catch her with the 1-2 before she could release it, and then slip out the way. It was working really good for her, landing a lot of good body kicks at the end of her combinations and stuff. I think by the 3rd round, I think Jessica just bit down on her mouth guard, and she understood I need to get the knockout to win this fight. And that's when you see when power starts taking over and start dominating. When you have someone that's fearless and has the power, that's the motherfucking shit right there. One of my favorite things. So technique is always the best. Watching good technique is great and it's beautiful. But as a fan of fighting, watching that Vanderlei Silva style, dude, the motherfuckers that just bite down on their mouth guard, just swing for the fences like it's their last fight of their life. There's just something about watching that, dude. Just something about watching someone walk down another person like I don't know, like a lion, trying to pounce on a gazelle, dude. It's premium, and I love it, dude. So Jessica's just walking down in Lupi. Lupi was even landing a lot of shots. She was still landing her 1-2s, but Jessica just was not backing up anymore. She just was like eating it, coming forward and returning with their own. She had a lot of success in that 3rd round. Honestly, if it was a 4th or 5th round, I feel Lupi would not have made it. She just started getting tagged a lot, and I feel like she slowed down a lot because she got tired, obviously, just throwing a lot of combinations and footwork. I don't know. Maybe if it goes 5 rounds, who knows? Maybe Lupi was able to come back the 4th or 5th, but that 3rd round, Jessica impressed me. And yeah, just try to keep this short because I got a lot of stuff I want to say. But yeah, you guys should check it out. If you guys don't know, now you know. Check it out. Next fight, Meerschaert versus Oleksiejczuk. Just, I don't know, man. That was a crazy fight, man. Meerschaert, I don't know what he was doing, bro. Dude, he was literally like running away from the Russian guy. I can't pronounce the Russian guy's name. I'm sorry, Russian guy. Oleksiejczuk. I'm just gonna call you Ollie, right? He was running away from Ollie. She's pulling guard, and I can't even call it pulling guard because he wasn't even pulling guard on homie, dude. He just was laying down in front of him on the other side of the ring at points. He gets clipped at some point and goes down, and that's the end of the fight. 1st round after running for like a minute straight. That was weird to watch. Did not feel like it was a pro fight. I do apologize to Meerschaert. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying how I see it. I was like, how is this a pro fight? How is this even in the UFC? You talk about how the sport's getting watered down, all these different networks getting involved and all these fighters that they're hiring. And I think this is just this highlights how it's getting watered down. That was just terrible. Anyways, props to the Russian guy. Next fight I want to talk about, Susurkaev. Alright, pause. How the fuck do you say this guy's name? Susurkaev. Passenger Susurkaev. I'm not saying his name right. I'm just going to call him BS. BS, baby. BS versus Nolan. Passenger Susurkaev versus Eric Nolan. First of all, I just want to say, Passenger, he literally just fought 4 days ago on the Contender Series. To fight on the Contender Series and then come on to the following week fight at UFC 319, I think that's impressive. That's the thing that like the Europeans, the Thai really. Mostly just the Thai and I'm the Asians. I'm gonna consider this dude Asian because I think he's like Russian or something and whatever. Well, I guess Russians, Asians, that side of the world. Those guys will fight so much more than we do in the West. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like, this dude fought in the Contender Series, won, right? He just got into the UFC, and then they're like, oh, yeah, do you want to fight? Like, you want to have your first fight in the UFC, like, literally at the end of this week? Dude's already on weight, won his fight, didn't really, get too injured, said, fuck it, I'm down. When he fought, and then he tells Dana, after he had this fight, he tells Dana White that he's down to fight again, and I believe he said, like, September or something. He just said that he's just trying to rack him up, he's trying to rack these fights up, make some money, get to the title. I love it. These Russian dudes. Anyways, First round. Good fight, man. Honestly, I literally wrote that in my notes after the first round. Great fight. Bassinger, he was more fluid and he seemed more comfortable and more fluid, because he just fought. But he was eating some shots early on by Nolan. I thought that, based off that first round, I really thought that Nolan was gonna win, dude. Pause. Yeah, off that first round, I thought that Eric Nolan was gonna take it, but as the fight continued, he just got, Nolan just basically started getting a little too saucy. He got too comfortable. I believe Bassinger landed at some point. This is the thing. Bassinger was landing. He landed a couple low kicks, right? And Eric Nolan, he didn't really do anything about it. And honestly, Bassinger just threw I believe it was an inside low kick. It landed to the back of Eric Nolan's knee, and he threw it hard, but it didn't look like it was like fucking 100% hard. But he did throw it hard, and I just think it was the angle of the kick and the placement of the kick. I think if I remember correctly, it snapped his knee or something. He had to get carried out, and I think he had I'm pretty sure he needs surgery. So props up to Bassinger. He fought just on 4-day notice, and he fought 4 days ago. So I got to give it to my guy Bassinger, dude. Next fight though that I want to talk about: Kai Asakura versus Tim Elliott. This is a flyweight bout, man. Tim Elliott's been around for a long time, dude. I think he's been fighting in the UFC for over 20 years. I remember seeing him a long time ago, dude. Honestly, it's kind of crazy that he's still fighting. He doesn't fight as much as he used to, which is good. He's older, recovering more. But Tim Elliott, if you don't know him, he's more of a grappler. He likes to kind of maul people. He's very Pat Miletich style, I feel like. And when I think of Tim Elliott, I think kind of like Pat Miletich. I don't know if you ever trained under him or anything, but he fight Kai Asakura, man. Kai Asakura, he's a Japanese phenom. He came to the UFC. He had his first fight with, I believe it was Pantoja. He lost, and we didn't get to see that much of him. But Kai, man, he came from where did he come from? Ryzen. He came from Ryzen. He was their champion. He was knocking motherfuckers out, bro. He broke. There's actually some dude he fought, and he broke his face. I believe he did it with a left hook or something. Dude's style is very, very striking intensive. He focuses a lot on the striking, and he has that. He pretty much fights like that Japanese kickboxer style. A lot of combinations, and a lot of power behind everything, and a lot of just he stays in your face, but he has good footwork, so he'll be darting forward and backward, in and out, but he's always coming forward at the end, right? One step back, two steps forward type shit. Good angles. He switches stances through his combinations. That's how the Japanese like to do it. A lot of inside low kicks, a lot of combinations that start and end with inside or outside low kicks. Anyways, I was stoked when he came to the UFC, but so yeah, he fought Tim Elliott first round. I don't even know what Tim Elliott was doing. He was waving his hands. I literally thought we were about to have another moment like Meerschaert, another disappointing moment of why the fuck is this guy in here? But yeah, he's Tim Elliott's moving his hands and he's jumping all weird. Kai, on the other hand, very composed, very K1 style. He just came in and was landing some crazy combinations on Tim Elliott. I saw that first round and I was like, damn, this fool's gonna get mollywopped. He got no shot, But he didn't fuck. But he didn't take Tim Elliott out. And at the end of that first round, Tim Elliott was able to get a takedown, and Kai wasn't able to get up. And I think that kind of changed the trajectory of the next round. Of the rest of the fight, because after the first round, you could see Kai was less aggressive coming forward, and he was kind of backing up a little bit more and he was kind of sticking to single shots. I think in the back of his head, he knew Tim Elliott could take him down, and he couldn't get back up. So he was just trying to watch his striking. Tim finally lands a punch in the second round. First round, I don't think he threw one single punch, or he didn't land anything. I can't remember. But I was like, what the fuck, has he even landed a punch? But the second round, he actually lands a very hard cross, and it backs Kai up, man. He lands it hard, and it kind of stops, and it kind of stuns him, And I think that also kind of let this fool can hit, he can take me down, and he can land a punch sometimes. At the end of it, dude, Tim Elliott was able to get Kai down, and there were some rolling exchanges. Tim ended up submitting Kai via guillotine, right? It was crazy. I think Tim was I can't remember exactly how it went down, bro. I think he had him side mounted or something and was trying to pass guard. He was able to grab Kai's head as he was kind of trying to defend it, and Tim, that's one of Tim's things is the guillotine. So props to Tim. In USA, I'm sad that Kai got knocked out because I liked him as a fighter, but the American in me says fucking USA, baby, let's go. So, yep, shout out to Elliott. The next fight, Michael Venom Paige versus Jared Cannonier. Man, was I excited for this fight. I like both fighters. Both fighters very different in terms of their approach to fighting. Jared Cannonier, he's fought across 3 weight classes. He's got knockouts in all 3 weight classes. I think there's only him and one other person that have had 3 knockouts in 3 different weight classes. So that's a cool little trophy or whatever to have, right? Yeah, the way Jared Cannonier fights, he's very composed, very technical. He swings extremely hard. He can hit you with elbows or hooks, whatever dude needs. He'll put you down. He's a big guy. Michael Venom Paige, if you guys don't know him, my UFC people might not have never heard of him, but he came from Bellator. He was one of their champions. Dude has crazy highlights. He knocking people out with weird angles, weird kicks. This dude was like a karate guy. He took Shadokan karate for hella years and then got into MMA. So his base is Shadokan karate, and he still fights like that style, hands down, darts in and out. Very fast, very explosive. Kind of reminds me of Wonder Boy. Very exciting fighter to watch. He broke someone's skull with the hook. Yeah, I think it was a hook if I remember correctly. Anyways, so yeah, it was an exciting fight. I mean, the fight happened like how MVP would have wanted it to happen. He didn't stay in front of Jared Cannonier. That guy's too powerful. He literally just kept moving, nonstop moving, backing up, throwing single shots, backing up, angle, sides, switching stances. A lot of single shots the first 2 rounds. And honestly, that's how you got to fight. When you like a guy like Jared Cannonier, he can put you out with 1 shot. One thing that I feel like I didn't see enough of is if I was Jared Cannonier, I would have tried to press the clinch more. I would have tried to just grab them. There were moments where he did grab him and it did look like he was trying to, a little bit, but I would have tried to focus a little bit more like in the camp. I would have attacked the legs more and pushed him against the cage because it's so hard to touch MVP, bro. Anytime you take a step forward, MVP's already taking 2 steps backwards or 2 steps to an angle, and you might even have walked into a kick or a cross. His footwork is so good and he doesn't stop. He never stops moving. So really the only times you can touch him is the legs, right? Because, he's always got that bladed stance. He's always popping off the legs. It's easier to reach the legs than the face, right? Straight long attacks like your teep. A longer guy like that, teep him in the stomach, dude. Just keep teeping him, side kicking, kick him in the leg, and the clinch. Push him against the cage and start kneeing him in the stomach, start kneeing him in the legs, elbows. Even if you're not going to take him down, just grab him and hold him there and hit him as many times as you can before he breaks out, because that's honestly his game plan is going to be to break the clinch and get back to doing what he's doing. And honestly, MVP, he has tremendous clench defense. He's really good at fighting the clench. Jiu-jitsu, I don't know. Once you take him down, it's a little bit harder for him to get up, but he's really hard to take down. He works a lot on his takedown defense. But yeah, Cannonier, he couldn't do much, dude. And it was a good fight, dude. Honestly, it was a good fight. I don't know what's next for Cannonier. I know he's an older guy, so he wants to fight for the title. I think it's tough, dude. That division's tough, and I don't think anything about his age or anything. I just think it's just the competition's tough. But I don't want to see him go, and fuck it, if he can work his way up, then work his way up. But I don't know what's next. The end of I just remembered though, the end of the 3rd round, Cannonier did get on top of Michael Venom Paige. Michael Venom Paige might have a hard time getting up once he's on the ground, but he does have good defense on ground and pound and submissions. Actually, Cannonier tried to go for a Kimura, wasn't the best position, but he did go for it. Michael Venom Paige was able to recognize and defend it. Cannonier, he got MVP down at the end of the 3rd round, and he tried to establish his posture to rain down elbows and heavy shots. MVP did a good job at moving his head out of the way, tucking his head to his stomach, to keep him from being able to extend all the way out. He wasn't able to get up, but he was also able to protect himself from getting really hurt. I do feel like there was a sense of panic though, because once he got taken down, there was I think a minute or 2 in the round left, and I think he could just feel that. He tried popping out a little bit a few times, but I just think Cannonier was just too strong, dude, too big of a guy. And I feel like MVP kind of started feeling that pressure, and he started kind of a little panic in his eyes. But he was able to defend, and the fight ends, and MVP ended up getting the victory. So go MVP, What a guy, man. What a guy. Exciting to watch. It's fun. It's fun to watch. You know, karate not my favorite style, but you know that shit's tight to watch. Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Man, this is a good fight. This is something I was excited for. Carlos Prates, he just coming off of a loss. Yeah, Carlos Prates, he's coming off of a L. He fought Ian Machado Gary. He delivered the first, Ian Machado Gary. He delivered the first loss to the Fighting Nerds. Yeah, he lost. He didn't really do much in that fight, and so he was excited to get back. He wanted to get his name back out there. He wanted to represent for the team, show him he's still relevant. Carlos Prates, love the guy, man. Party animal. And Muay Thai. My guy's got Muay Thai tatted across the chest, man. Smokes motherfucking cigarettes every day. Drinks all the time. He's my motherfucking spirit animal. Carlos Prates, where you at? Let's party, baby. So, Geoff Neal versus Carlos Prates. It was a good fight, honestly. Geoff Neal was doing a good job. He had good combinations, very quick to think. It was a good little game of chess. The first half of the round was pretty even. Geoff Neal seemed to be landing a little bit more stronger strikes. But Prates, as the round continued, started getting more comfortable, started landing more low kicks. I mean, dude, once Carlos Prates, once he gets in his zone, dude, it's just beautiful Muay Thai, dude. So he's just so smooth in the way he moves, the way he swings, towards the end of that first round, he was like, and he's not like a combination type dude, I think Neal had more power for sure, but I just think Prates was just super like silky smooth. He was landing at weird angles and landing shit that Neal wasn't seeing, or couldn't see, and I mean, the shot that you don't see is the one that hurts the most, baby. But I mean, there was a point where Neal caught a kick though he caught one of I think it was Prates' body kick or something. Jeff Neal caught it. I can't remember what he landed, but he landed some good combinations. I thought I wrote it down. He landed some combinations to Carlos Prates. He caught the kick and then boom, boom. I believe it was like some body, like he spammed like 2 hooks to the body or something. I don't remember. 2 hooks to the head. I don't know. Your boy was smoking when he was watching it. And now he's smoking when he's talking about it. I gotta get better with my notes, man. Maybe I'll get an AI or something to help me out with these things. But anyways, yeah, it was a good fight. Prates, it seemed like he started landing a little bit more knees, towards the end. The knees looked like they were doing damage, but my boy ends up getting a freaking spinning elbow in the end of round 1 with 1 second left in the round. Dude, freaking split the side of freaking Geoff Neal's head open. This dude hit it and went down and just did not want to get back up. And you know what? Like, when you get hit hard the last second of the round, it's like you can probably kind of play it off. Like if you just get up real quick, find your way to your corner and get to it. Neal didn't even want to get up. This fool laid on his back and he's like, I'm done. That fool got hit so hard. They did a replay and you can hear the sound of the elbow going against the skull, and it wasn't even like a loud clunk. It was like a low and deep like clunk. Joe Rogan described it as sounding like a baseball. Like someone hitting a baseball. That's a good definition, or that's a good analogy, I guess. But man, I mean, that was a crazy fight, dude. Prates, good to see him. Exciting fighter. Hats off to him. What's next? I don't know. But Aaron Pico versus Leron Murphy, man. Aaron Pico, there's so much hype with this guy, dude. I always gotta give him a shout out because he's a California native. He used to live out here in LA. He trains, I think, in New Mexico, so he lives out there. But he's a local, and so I always got to show love to my California people. So shout out Aaron Pico. He fought Leron Murphy. Murphy, I saw him fight like once or twice. The one thing I can remember was he was British. Honestly, I don't know. That was all I can remember. But Leron Murphy, he's no slouch. Fight. I mean, it only lasted the first round, and all I can say was, I was impressed for what I saw from Pico, for what I could see. I mean, Pico was pushing, he put on the pressure, he was in his face, good boxing, literally just pushing him against the cage and just not like respecting him at all. He was swinging hard, swinging fast, very aggressive. He just got caught, man. He was moving to Leroy's left side, and Leroy just set up a spinning back elbow. Literally got a spinning back elbow knockout right after we got a spinning back elbow knockout from Carlos Prates. I mean, as a fan, what else could you want, man? I was like, oh shit, dude, cool. 319, baby, we here. But yeah, Aaron Pico just got caught slipping, and he got hit with that spinning back elbow, and it was done, bro. That's crazy. First round too, if I remember correctly. Yeah, first round. Overall, though, Aaron Pico, he's in the UFC now. I like what I saw. I think he still has a bright future ahead of him. So You know, that's the thing, dude. This is MMA, dude. I'm a real MMA fan. Just because you lose the fight, I'm still a fan, dude. I'm here to see the good fights. I don't need to see someone reign undefeated. This isn't boxing. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I just want to see good fights. I want to see people get tested, and I just want to be entertained, baby. So Aaron Pico, you entertained me for what I saw. Shout out to Aaron Pico. We'll see what's next. Now we're on to the main event. Duplessis and Dupli and Kazmat Shaimiev. I mean, this fight went how people thought it was probably going to go down. It could have only gone down one of two ways, right? So it was going to be a mauling by Kazmat with the grappling, or it was going to be Kazmat gets tired and then DDP takes over with brute strength. I think this fight proved that DDP, while very strong, Kazmat is also very strong, you know. I mean, he was able to put the pressure for all 5 rounds. Pretty much took DDP down immediately in the beginning of every round, either within the first takedown or two, and just laid on top of him. He was able to get DDP in the crucifix a few different times. Like a few different times. It was kind of crazy. Didn't do a lot of damage though, bro. Honestly, I mean, DDP had some red on his face, but I think by today, probably not going to notice much. I mean, put on a little makeup and, you know, you can go out with your girl and all that and live life. I don't know. Take some Instagram pictures. But I mean, DDP didn't do no damage at all, though. Like, literally didn't even touch Kazmat. It was disappointing, man. I don't like to see main events like that, you know. I get it, it's MMA, and we're here to see what style is the best style, but it's also entertainment, man. And if it's like your style is boring, it's like, dude, this is hard to sell, and it's just bad for the sport, I think, in my opinion. That's just me, though. Maybe I'm just a hater. I do prefer the striking and stuff. But Kazmat, I do like Kazmat. I think Kazmat's a sick fighter, you know. I've been a fan of his. I like his persona. I just wish that, you know, he used his wrestling to set up finishes or to do more damage, you know. It's like you can put someone in a crucifix and give him little baby shots, you know, but if you can't land big elbows or anything, it's like maybe instead, you know, try to get the full mount position and try to, you know, posture up and land some strikes. I don't know. I'm not the one in there, so I can't make these decisions, right? Just win the best way possible. I think that's the mentality. Win the easiest way possible, taking the least amount of damage. And at the end of the day, like, this is like his job, right? It's like he was given an opportunity to make a lot more money, you know, get ticket sales and all this. So it's like, okay, let me just do what I'm good at and just out wrestle this fool, not get hurt, win, fight again. But yeah, Kazmat, he won all 5 rounds. Who's next? I mean, honestly, Gilbert has so far put up the most entertaining fight against him. I guess we'll see what's next. Overall, though, you know, it was a good card. I mean, the undercards were good as fuck. I think I called fucking Jeff Neal. I think that's why I paused. I wrote it both times in both different ways here. Good card, man. It's a good card, UFC 319. I think this is probably a little bit over 30 minutes. I'll probably try to cut some of this fluff off to make it shorter. Thanks for listening, guys. Goodbye.